Hello everyone, welcome to ThePapare.com for this special discussion where we will be just discussing how the COVID-19 has affected cricket in general. So for this discussion, I have three special guests: Russel Arnold, former Sri Lankan cricketer, and Farveez Maharoof, who also a former cricketer, and then Andrew Fernando, a reputed cricket journalist from ESPN Cricket Info. Good to have you here, all gentlemen. First of all, Russell, how's it going in Sydney? How's the situation there? Hope everyone's safe.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, for the moment, things are okay. I mean, there are a lot of restrictions. We can't meet in groups. You can't go out as much. You've been advised not to do so. It's all about advice at the moment, and people are sticking to it. There really is no issue in going out and getting your dry rations. We just go out for a jog now and again around where we live, but more or less stuck at home. But as of now, there's not a lot of drama around either. They're kind of controlling everything. They're quite worried because winter is coming up. That's when they think that the infections will grow and will spread faster. So they're trying to get it under control and try to come to terms with it before winter kicks in.
Faris, we've been busy around going and giving some help to the public in general, but you have been confined inside your house for a couple of weeks now. How's the situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite tough being home. The lifestyle what I'm used to, so I'm pretty sure that Russell and Andrew will be the same. But it's been challenging, as Russell said. It's important that we follow our protocols, follow the advices given by the government, the health officials, the tribal forces, and the police, who are doing a great job. So I reckon for the moment, last couple of weeks been a bit on the slower side. But recently, I've been a bit busier, roaming around. Distributing some dry rations and some households needs for the needy people, which I think all the Sri Lankans are mostly doing from their own circle. So I reckon that's been I'm been to up to. Other than that, it's nothing much to speak about.
Andrew, you always do your work from home when there's no cricket, and cricket, as we all know, it's a 365 day sport. But how's it being at home? Not anything for you.
It's different when you're not allowed to leave home though. Generally, I can at least like step out and do something, but yeah, I'm used to working from home. But now that I have to be here, it's like a whole different dynamic. Yesterday, I went out for the first time, or yesterday or the day before, to the ATM, which is like 500 meters from my house, and I had to explain to some army guys why I was leaving the house, and they couldn't get rid of me. I was just chatting to them the whole time, and they're like, okay, you can go, because I've just been so starved of conversation with, I guess, like with. So yeah, that's it. I've just been at home. It's a different world because you don't. Although I work from home, it still has a different vibe. When you look outside, there's no one outside. You still don't have those little interactions with people outside the house. But it's been fine. It's been enjoyable, as much as enjoyable as it could have been given the circumstances.
Andrew, of course, lives in a good part of the world, not like Maha, Dehiwala Shire, right?
Yeah, they will just throw stones throw from where you.
Yeah. Dehiwala Shire, one of part of the world. Maha, you should visit that way a bit
in the
more.
suburbs.
Actually, I also living now.
Andrew is my neighbor, Maha.
Two legends by themselves.
So, Russell, just let's talk on the current situation in terms of cricket. No cricket whatsoever. When do you see cricket returning? And especially with Sri Lankan cricket, we saw the England tour was postponed. Then likely the South African tour will also be postponed. So, how do you see the progress of cricket in terms of international cricket?
Well, we're all hoping for the best, Damith. Right now, nothing can be said. even in terms of let's say what's up next. It's the IPL. Well, as of now, they deferred it to April 15th, but they're still thinking maybe sometime in May a shorter tournament can come in. So we have to, at this stage, wait and see how things pan out. It's not about the sport. It's about how we're able to clear up, or the communities are able to clean up and say that it's safe for each and every one. Yeah, you mentioned South Africa. That's what Sri Lanka have next, and that was South Africa coming to Sri Lanka in June. So South Africa, well, they're under lockdown as well. So there's no way that they will be able to tour early June, and then it's India, July, August. We generally have teams coming in. That's kind of our busy period. So hopefully things start to fall in place. We're still seeing no signs of it. I reckon it's at least end of April when we might know whether it'll clear up for June, July, or even August. But as of now, not much I can tell you on that. We're all hoping that some cricket happens. For starters, yes, it's great to have this break, but you think of a couple of months down the line, then you want to get out and be involved and do what you do all the time. I mean, that's how your mind and life generally works.
Thanks, Russell. A lot of people have sent us questions, and we request everyone who is watching this coverage also to say questions. On Twitter had asked us one question yesterday. What's the impact of the World Test Championship? The final is supposed to be played in June 2021, but will we be able to finish off all the bilateral series? Andrew, your chance to just talk us through about this, the impact on the ICC World Test Championship.
Yeah, so it's all up in the air right now. I don't think any boards are making any hard decisions, but it doesn't look good for the World Test Championship. It may turn out that teams have to share points, or that they have to revise the World Test Championship schedule, and maybe push that, like the Olympics have done, push that final back, a year, or even maybe further back into 2022, because there are still, I think, over half the series still have to be played in that World Test Championship. The one good thing, I think, is that that the World Test Championship has added is that a series like this Sri Lanka England series that was postponed, that we're supposed to be in the middle of right now, there's still a huge incentive for both those teams to play the series. So we can kind of be reasonably confident that that series will eventually be played at some point, will eventually be rescheduled, and it will happen maybe next year or whenever. But I'm expecting there to be a huge reshuffle in the cricket schedule, because everything's just getting moved back a few months. The England home summer looks like it's almost certain not to happen at this stage. That requires a lot of planning and a lot of moving parts to make the English home summer happen. So they're bracing for a big shock in England. Sri Lanka also, as Russell alluded to earlier, has a few big home series in the middle of the year. I don't see how that's going to happen either. So I think what I would like to see at least is for not for the World Chess Championship to be scrapped. That could be something that they look at, but to move that final back and just to delay everything, and for the boards all to get together once this is over and hash out a new schedule.
Yeah, Damith, can I add to that? Yeah, if we look at it right now, let's say if we are up and running again, if things go well and we are up and running by July, there's not much we have missed. Those can be rescheduled. As far as Sri Lanka will be concerned, it will be the England series. England will have a lot of rescheduling to do. But if it keeps going deeper and deeper, that's when you have to start making bigger decisions and see if you need to move the final further, or what you need to do. Now, talking of the Australian summer, which starts September, October, World T20, they're still looking forward to it. It's still 7-8 months away. A lot can happen from there on. But they're still quietly thinking, okay, if we lose 25% of the summer, what happens? Where do we stand? If we lose 50%, if we lose 100%. So those type of thoughts are going. But at the moment, there's not much that has been lost. And who knows, if things go well, we could be back on the field June, July. yeah, I mean, we really are being optimistic there. But if that's the case, a couple of series to be rescheduled, and we are back on track.
Farveez, most of the players they are used to be traveling around playing cricket regularly, and they might just have a couple of weeks rest only. But this is a very unusual situation. As a player, you've been a player till recently. As a player, how do you keep yourself fit and how do you keep your morale up whenever it starts? How do you prepare yourself mentally and physically?
I reckon being a professional, you got to have the morale boost to train by yourself. I mean, it has to be. It has to be a game itself. I mean, there are particular training regimes. I'm pretty sure that the trainers would have sent it across to the players. So I reckon, as Russell said, it's a long break. I think as a player, no one likes to have a long break, maximum couple of weeks, then back to the field. But unfortunately, this is dragging day by day. So I reckon once this whole drama finishes, it'll at least take a good 1 month of training, of physical as well as technical, to get back into shape. So I'm pretty sure that, as Russell mentioned, the South Africa series, it's a bit too early for me, but all depends on when it's going to when this all drama going to finish, as well as as a former player retired recently. I'm pretty sure that with the modern day, there's so much information. It's very important that the guys come on track and train at least for a month physically and mentally, as well as technically, to get into the shape playing before playing an important international series.
I of course think it's a good thing.
Received a lot of questions from fans as soon as.
Yeah, Damit. Just
Yes,
on the break, if you're talking cricket only, I think it's a good thing. Everyone needed a break. You think of life, yes, there are issues and it's sad what's happening around. But if you're talking of the players and even us, just being in one place, refreshing your mind, I think the players will come back sharper. They'll be happier and recharged as well, and looking to hit the ground. And it should be good for them this break.
so as we spoke on the international cricket fixtures, Russell, one more thing is this year was supposed to be the start of the Sri Lankan Premier League, which was we had a window as per the CEO. We had a window in August and September. Andrew, do you see this happening whatsoever? Because we are the only top tier nation which doesn't have a main T20 competition.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Russell has some better info than me, being a little bit closer to that tournament. But it just seems like the pressure that the schedule will be under after this, the delays and the cancellations, it might be tough to get it started. Anyway, there was scheduling pressure because the CPL is going on at the same time, or was supposed to be going on at the same time. Everyone's trying to figure out the new window for their T20 series. The IPL may not happen until September, so we talked about it maybe happening in April, May, but there's also other talk that it's going to happen much later in the year. The PSL, the last 2 or 3 games of the PSL have also got to be played. That'll happen later in the year. So all of these put pressures on a lot of these tournaments already have players under contract. So it'll be maybe a little bit tougher. It was always going to be tough for SLC to get these sort of big T20 names. Though they could have, I mean, it could have still happened. I still think that Sri Lanka is very much capable of hosting a top level T20 tournament for this magnitude. But one of the big challenges is always going to be getting those top tier players, and that's going to be, if they're going to do it this year, it's going to be even harder. I'm sure Russell will definitely have a lot more to add on this than me.
Unfortunately,
So do you
not
want
much,
to add to that?
Andrew, because all I know is what I've read. I haven't been in touch since a couple of years ago when it did go down. But one thing's for sure, Sri Lanka do need a T20 competition, and I think we're nicely placed as well. I think a lot of players will prefer to come and play in Sri Lanka if we can get a nice, a good tournament running because of the convenience. We are centrally placed, whereas there are other challenges, logistical problems. Let's say our immediate competitor is the CPL. So there definitely is an opportunity, but getting it started, that initial oomph is going to be much of a challenge. And in this instance, for this year, we have a lot more unforeseen problems. So we really are clutching at straws in that aspect at the moment.
Farveez, you also had to come home with the Masters Premier League.
Come again, Damith. I couldn't hear you properly.
You were part of one of the tournaments recently, Masters Premier League, which was played in India. How was that experience?
Yeah.
It was fantastic, but it missed a big name in Russel Arnold. He was doing some other stuff.
Yeah,
You were looking forward to
I was ditched. They dropped me for that one to take Farveez there. I was wondering how that happened. Now, Damith, you brought it up. It was the Masters. It was a Masters tournament. So that is over 40s. So now there's a lot of confusion here. How did you go? In 2004, you were the under 19 captain. So where did they get the age wrong now? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was it for the 2004 tournament or this Masters tournament? What's going on here?
For your information, Russell, I won't name it in names, but there were at least 4 youngsters that played the Masters tournament. So you're trying to say they are
the hell of a Masters. what sort of a Masters tournament is this?
The 4 ones, they were younger than me. And also, it just called Masters for some reason. And
you're talking about the 2004 Under 19 World Cup. Everyone was younger than you.
Everyone was younger than me. They were obviously 1 year younger too. I can mainly.
Birth certificate බලන්න නැද්ද?
දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ගෙදර එකයි පිටට එකයි. In Bangladesh, that's how
Damith, you know what? I was down to go. They dropped me. Last minute they dropped me. I'm hurt.
You should have fired a call to our captain. Ask him for explanation.
Maha, tell us about the Sri Lanka India match now.
I mean that game, that one of burst over went for about 27 runs, and that actually more than 27. Actually, the broth I got from Murali after the game as usual. He's like, going all sort of things. I was like, all right, Murali, don't worry. Especially the first game. I mean, to be honest, before we left Sri Lanka, we never knew the competition is going to be that higher, because we were told initially it's going to be exhibition tournament, and we didn't train that much. We had a couple of training sessions, didn't go that well, to be honest. But as soon as we stepped into India, and then we trained with India on the same day at Barbaron Stadium. And we saw how competitive Indians were, and then we were like, okay, there's more competitive than what we thought. So that's where it started. I mean, to be honest, if I'm lying, you can ask anyone that before we left Sri Lanka, we had never idea that it's going to be that competitive. But once we hit ground running, we like, okay, it's not going to be any walk in the park. It's going to be serious.
So you went for a party.
Farveez, just one more question from one of the young cricketers. No schools cricket, no cricket, as we all know. So for a player who doesn't have much of gym equipment, who doesn't have any special trainers to instruct, his question was, if you wait at home like this, will our rhythm in bowling go away? So how do you answer this question, Farveez?
I think not only in bowling rhythm, Damith, all the rhythm when it comes to batting or fielding or even working out with a group, the rhythm will definitely go in, because you're not able to step out. So it's important to know your limits when it comes to training. And also, as I said before, training individually, it's a morale boosting thing. So you need to adjust your mind to train. And in case if you don't have any weights and if you don't have any gym, that's the same situation in my house. I don't have a gym, but all I do is do all my body weight stuff, like the single leg squats, the push-ups, the planks, the one leg bridges, the double leg bridges, and all this stuff can be easily Googled through internet, and you can find out. And it's important to keep shape, because as soon as you start training, it's going to be very hard if you're not done anything for a while and straight away you go to a competition or train in a very high intensity level, you might get injured. So especially in this period, if you don't have any gym equipment, go to Google, just type in and find out exercise you could do.
I have a question for both Russel and Farveez, actually. What percentage of what percentage of cricketers do you think will come out of this period with a little bit extra? Like just put like a percentage of like how many will be really motivated to do all their home exercises, but I'm sure a few will come out, looking a little bit pudgier, right? Like there's got to be a decent.
I'll say 40%. Yeah, because some have that motivational levels and some know they have to hit the ground running, because the rewards are also such. You can't waste time, you can't look behind. And as a sportsman, unlike in any other field, you have just the 5 or 6 good years where you have to make a life for yourself and your family. So those who understand that and are in situations like that will be ready to go straight on. But for me, this period, like the physical aspect of the game, the mental aspect is the biggest thing. And that's where I say guys will come back fresh. When you're playing day in, day out and traveling, you become lethargic. Now you might be fit, but you might be strong and technically sound. But you have to make spontaneous decisions out on the field. And if you're mentally tired, those things don't happen. So that's where the mental sharpness, the break, go away, stay away from exercise. 2-3 months is too much. A little period always helps. So this type of period, do whatever fitness you can. Of course, don't eat like Maha. You just don't give your diet and menu out there. In the commentary box, you should see him. Anyways, so just look after yourself. But yoga and stuff like that are things that will really make you sharper. And when you're relaxed and sharp, you make better decisions. Then you're a better player.
I'll add to that, Andrew. If there are two types of players, some prefer a longer break, some don't. So guys who don't prefer a longer break, as I said before, a couple of weeks of complete break, start hitting the ground. So some players would like to have 3 weeks or a month. That's where it's important, as Russel said, to hit the ground running. You need to do your work at home. It can be without any dumbbells. It can be without weights, but still your body weight is enough to do all those stuff and keep yourself fit.
I'm gonna put you guys on the spot now a little bit.
I thought you had 3 in the panel, Damith. Here now 2 against 2. Yeah. What's going on?
I'm a journalist. This is my job. You got to name one cricketer who's definitely going to do his fitness or her fitness and come out very, very fit. And you got to name one who you think it's a bit dodgier. You got to give us a couple of names.
Okay, Bhanuka Rajapaksa.
Okay, which one? Will he be fit or the other side?
I think he'll like his food.
Okay. Bhanuka, if you're listening, just keep this as motivation.
No, I'm just kidding. But who will be fit? Let's go with the Sri Lankan team. Maharoof.
I think
who will be the fittest?
Nuwan Pradeep for me, who injured his hamstring during the West Indies series, didn't he?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, so he will probably take this break to refresh his energy back, and he's a hard work anyway. He unfortunately breaks down. So I reckon he will be quite willing to come back strong because he's already out with an injury. But whoever is coming up opposite side, what can I say? Wow.
I,
You know
I,
who
I
I feel
saw
sorry
I
for?
saw Andrew's
13 years
article
ago,
on
I would have.
Angelo Met.
Yeah, I was just gonna say who I feel sorry for Angela, who spent the last 3 months like doing amazing work, dropped a lot of weight, just as it was getting into like the peak physical condition, the entire goes into couch mode.
I think
So he would have
Chandimal will be fair.
momentum going.
I think
I
even
think
Angelo can be put
Chandimal.
into. Angelo
Yeah.
even can be put in that bracket. I've seen in social media that he's training really hard to maintain the levels he has kept up to. But on the opposite side, if you ask me,
Kusal
okay, it's a
Pereira.
14 year. So newly married,
Yeah.
slightly
Paul.
longer honeymoon.
Okay, I got an easy one.
Slightly
All right,
longer honeymoon.
who's gonna come out chubbier? Lassit Malinga.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about how that's gonna turn out.
And he has to
How
look
about
after himself pretty much.
Wanindu Hasranga? He's just after an injury, guys.
Yeah.
How big is he as an asset for Sri Lankan cricket going forward?
I think what's most important with him is his attitude. He's got a lot of arrogance about himself. That arrogance, you need to go out there and fight, make things happen for yourself and compete. So I don't think we have much to worry about him. I wish the others had 10% of that attitude, and Sri Lanka will have such a different team. But with that, I got to say that since December to how they're playing cricket now, it's refreshing. You can watch them. You like to watch them. Yes, mistakes are happening. You're not still got the game rolling forward, but they're good to watch and they're doing lots of good things. So the team is on the right track. But if Wanindu Hasaranga can share some of his attitude around, I think that'll do the Sri Lankan team, a lot of good.
One more question, guys. Now we've spoken about the international players, but what this pandemic has affected most of is the first class players. They were supposed to go to England from April to September. Now they won't be able to go. Their tournament has also been suspended for now. So how how are they going to have some sort of an income during this pandemic period? Sorry, you can start off.
I think it's very important to look after the first class players. I mean, I'm pretty sure that SLC will definitely put up a plan in putting in place to get the players financially looked after, especially the senior players. I mean, junior players you can understand, but we have seen most of the senior players do retire and go abroad and do their living. Whereas we are lacking senior players playing first class cricket. So it's paramount for me to look after the senior players who are losing on this financially, that these players still remain in Sri Lanka, and they have to encourage them playing more first class years, because if you look at the number of big names who are playing first class cricket, it's not much. There are loads of players who have migrated to Australia. So I reckon that's very important on SLC side to look after the players, especially financially, and as well as you mentioned, the the players who go to England to play their summer. I mean, it's up in there, as Andrew said before. The England summer is not being finalized yet. So you never know what's going to happen. So, their financial situation will be very hard. The players, especially going to England. So, all in all, it's all hope for the moment. So I'm pretty sure, guys are wanting to get back to the field, and hopefully, we will come over this very soon.
Yeah, that's a good question, Damith, because the mature players, those are the players who will hold Sri Lanka cricket together. But going to England is actually a game changer for most of them. Sometimes they earn more out there than what they do playing first class cricket in Sri Lanka. Now, Maha mentioned the point that SLC will do something. Yes, they look to, but how much can Sri Lanka cricket also do? They're also, mind you, in a tricky situation or tricky time at the moment. TV rights were just done. Now we're still trying to figure that out. That's all on hold. markets will change when we are coming out of this. So can Sri Lanka cricket get what they want? These are all up for grabs. So it's going to be interesting times, and also how much can they stretch? That's another question that we'll have to wait and see how it goes.
Definitely.
Especially Andrew, we as media, a lot of media people struggle in no cricket. How about the ground staff, the caterers, umpires? They all rely on their daily wages.
Sorry, Damith, did you say something?
Yes,
Yeah, we are talking to you.
just about as a media person and as some of the other aspects of cricket in Sri Lanka, the umpires, the caterers, the scorers, how are they going to survive in this situation?
Yeah, so Russell brought up a really good point about media rights. And around the world, the smaller boards, so the big three, the India, Australia, England, their media rights have increased in value. But I think teams, countries like Pakistan, South Africa, finding this rights cycle is a bit more of a challenge for them. And I believe that's what SLC have found as well, that they're not getting the kind of tenders, the kind of offers that they would generally expect to get. And so this is going to be now, on top of that, you've now got this huge uncertainty in the schedule, which is only going to make broadcasters a bit more nervous about putting those huge bids in. We don't know when things will get back to normal, if they ever will get back to. I'm sure it will, but there's still so much up in the air that SLC, I think, is going to have to make these changes. I think we've seen overseas where both Cricket Australia and the ECB have kind of asked cricketers to take a little bit of a pay cut, so that the board can have a little bit more in its coffers to do its normal operational expenses, to make sure that its staff are paid, to make sure that the domestic cricketers are paid. And I wonder if something like that is coming for the Sri Lankan top tier cricketers as well, the national cricketers, whether there'll be a slight change in their contracts, whether they'll SLC will ask them to kind of have a look at it. So far, the England players haven't accepted a pay cut. Their cricketers organisation, their cricket association, has refused or has declined the ECB's kind of request to take a pay cut. But this will be a conversation, an ongoing conversation that will happen around the world. And if this goes on for a little while longer, I don't see any way where the cricketers don't take a pay cut. I think the longer it goes on, the more likely it'll become that we'll see some renegotiated contracts, and we'll see cricket boards basically en masse go into kind of survival mode. And hopefully this ends in a couple of months and we do see some cricket in July, but right now it doesn't look hopeful.
Just about the pay cuts, we have another question on that gentleman. A lot of people watching this live have also questioned this. What are the cricketers follow the suit of players in La Liga and Bundesliga who are agreed to take pay cuts so that clubs can continue paying the wages of non-playing employees? That's my question to you guys. The non-playing employees, they are very important. I earlier asked the umpire, the referee, the acting staff. So, will they cut in Sri Lanka? Farveez, you worked as an administrator, as a commentator, as a journalist everywhere. So, what are the odds of cricketers also following that same suit?
I think most of the cricketers are in the field of donating and spreading the awareness when it comes to this dangerous disease. But when it comes to their, as both of them said before, when it comes to their central contracts, I'm pretty sure that there will be some sort of a negotiation among SLC and the players real going forward. But when it comes to cup players, not accepting their money and trying to give it to employers. I think it's going to be tough because the club cricketers don't get paid much, unlike the international cricketers when they play for the national team. So I don't see that happening, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure most of the club players will do some sort of a charity work in their own little circle, which they are possible to do. But apart from that, I don't see them doing taking a pay cut. I should say, as honestly speaking, the pay what you get for Sri Lankan domestic cricket is pretty low.
Yeah, Damit, just on that, I don't think there's a comparison. You brought the soccer up, the amount of monies that are around and the contracts, you could easily say one of those guys takes a 20% pay cut. It's still over $1 million or £1 million that he's picking up. Whereas it's not that type of money that we'll see in Sri Lankan circles. And I don't think most of our domestic players or even in the national level, it's hard to take a pay cut as if you are comparing to what others are doing. And also sometimes your contracts and how it's been set up, they all matter. Now here in Australia, the contracts are up for negotiations. Now they've been delayed. And it's understood. Okay, let's leave it for a while and see how we go. And then on the other hand, 3 years ago, the understanding between the board and the Players Association was that they need to be treated as partners. So if the board does well, they get a share. So if the board doesn't do well, they got to feel the pain as well. And that's understood with the Australian players who are right up there in saying, okay, right, we are open to it, because that's the understanding and that's the agreement they have. So if the Australian summer doesn't go ahead, then those players will have to feel the pinch, because they are considered as partners in this along with the board. So different circumstances, different numbers. So sometimes you can say so and so took a 50% pay cut, but still he could be picking up $1 million. But you can't say that to the guy who's picking up 50,000 rupees, is it? It will make a big difference to his life, whatever, if you're going to compare percentages and whatever that's going on.
Thanks, Russell. Thanks, Farveez, for answering that question. That was one of the questions which some of the fans who are watching this have sent to us. Do keep in sending on all these questions to us. We will feature them on this special discussion. Russell, one more thing. We've seen some of the games being replayed on TV, on social media. We at ThePapare.com have also tried giving some nostalgia to all the people who are, I'd say, they are safe at home, not stuck at home. So, how was your experience with this other gentleman here, Farveez Maharoof? So your playing career, you all played together for several years. How was that experience?
Better be good, Russell.
Well, I can only say good things now, right? Yeah, go a long way back. I think we initially came across Ma in 2003. We went on an A tour. He was still, he was under 19 apparently, but he's playing over 40s now. This is 2004, so I'm a bit confused with that. But he was apparently under 19 then. We went on this A tour, and since then, being teammates. We've had some good times, some good memories too. That was a good period we played through. 2000, I retired in 2007. There's not much I can say about Maha, unlike I can say about the others, because he tries to be prim and proper. There's no like a Murali or a Pramod. There are so many things that you can say about them and laugh about. But Maha, I think he was more mature, and behaved quite well.
Maha, you have anything to say about Rusty?
I mean, as I mentioned, 2003 was my first professional tour to India. He was the captain. So basically, since then, as Russell said, 4 years of good international.
I taught him to behave.
He was doing the curfew times. Yeah, I mean, 4 years, as Russell mentioned, that's that era. But the team that we had from 2004 onwards, when I started, up to 2007 World Cup where Russell retired, I thought, maximum would have 17 players would have played in that 4 years, isn't it, Russell? Like, not much people broke into the scene, it was fairly the same team or the same squad, toured and won so many trophies and so many series in that time. So, 4 years of tremendous years together, as well as we played for the same club team in Sri Lanka, the best team, NCC. So those are the things that we share, as well as playing mercantile cricket. We played a couple of years at HNB. So in those era as well, we had a superb team and we won a correct number of championships playing for HNB. So his memory has been wonderful, and recently I joined him in the commentary panel as well. So hopefully that partnership will blossom in future.
Andrew,
Yeah, that's the difference between the teams of those that years and now. If you look, Sri Lanka had a core group together, and you had the youngsters coming in. Right now, we don't have much of a core. That's what we need to identify. Then you can fill in the gaps. And the why we were good was our youngsters at that stage were one called Lasit Malinga, Tilakaratna Dilshan, and Farveez Maharoof. Upul Tarang had already, youngster maybe, but he'd already played quite a bit at that stage. He started a little earlier. So the team was in a good space to have youngsters like that coming in. So it was good times, great memories. And some things, I have to say, Dami, you're trying to get stories out, but what happens in the dressing room does stay in the dressing room. That's a rule which we will stick by. But before we go, you have to tell me when St. Peter's play Wesley. Another thrashing we need to see.
We are hoping all sports in Sri Lanka will return soon. The dialogue rugby league is also halted due to all this coronavirus, the pandemic. Andrew, you've covered plenty of games as a journalist. Can you name three games, your best three games you've covered as a journalist?
It's a good question. I think I'll always remember this is that 2014 Test match in Galle between Pakistan and Sri Lanka. It was quite boring actually the first 4 days. Yunus Khan got 180 odd. I think Kumar Sangakkara got 200. It went into the fifth day, and it was still the first innings. But then Rangan Herath got on a roll, dismissed Pakistan very cheaply. And then I think one of my favorite ever sights on a cricket field was that evening. I think Sri Lanka had to get 97 or something like that to win in about 18, 19 overs. It was Mahela's last test there. Suddenly the whole ground filled out. It was one of those matches that SLC had made free. So people shut up shops in Galle. They came out to watch the match. Once the ground filled up, the whole filled up as well. So there was thousands of people up on the fort, thousands of people in the ground. And then just as Sri Lanka were getting close to the target, this huge black cloud parked itself over the ground. There were kites flying on the fort in the background. And Angelo Matthews and I think Kitruan and Tanage was partnering him at the other side. Just started hooking madly, trying to smash everything before the rains came down. And Matthews scored the last run literally as the heavens opened up. Scored the winning runs, and within split seconds of him completing the run, it was just a torrential downpour. If they had waited 2 more minutes, they wouldn't have been able to finish that match. That's probably one of my favorite memories. Even though it wasn't a great game all up, that finish was something that I'll always remember. Apart from that, I think some wonderful World Cup games. I was at that World T20 match between Bangladesh and India in 2016 when Bangladesh had 3 balls to get 1 run, and Hardik Pandya got 3 wickets, and not Hardik Pandya, but India got 3 wickets off those last 3 balls. Dhoni captaining ridiculously well, and Bangladesh just throwing away a tour thing. That was incredible to watch and something I'll never forget as well. And I think I'll always remember Wahab Riaz's fell to Shane Watson in the 2015 World Cup in that quarterfinal in Adelaide. That was also thrilling just to be in the stands watching that. I'd probably pick those 3 moments.
Russell, for you as a commentator, you've commentated 200 games, I'm pretty sure, more than 100 for sure. What are your 3 memorable games you've commentated?
Yeah, well, it's quite easy. Some of them. I think the Durban test was outstanding. The World T20 final that we did win. And I'll go to Headingley. Headingley, that test match that Sri Lanka won, fighting back. I reckon those three are up there. But I've had the pleasure of watching some fantastic performances down the line. I also remember very well the game Andrew mentioned, the one in Gaul. We still had 5 overs to go, though we got there and the rains did open up. Also, and another test match in Gaul, Sri Lanka beating India. Again, Rangana Herat speciality. Was great to watch. So these are a few things that really stand out, along with a lot of others, which make it very, very special. Special to be a part of, actually.
Gentlemen, before we wind up, yes, everyone's at home, just hoping cricket would return and hope this global pandemic would end. I'll give one more opportunity to each one of you to just summarize everything and just give a final say on how this pandemic will affect cricket and when cricket will return. Just and a message to all the fans who are watching this. Farveez, you can start.
I reckon, as I said before, the hope is the word when it comes to most of it, not only cricket but everything. So hopefully this pandemic will definitely finish one day sooner or later, and we start back to our normal life. So that's number one. And as this pandemic is over and the cricket season starts, it's never be the same. It will take some time, as everyone, even the sponsors will be less. As we spoke about the TV rights bids have been pretty low. So everything will take time to get back to the normal stage what it used to be. So it's going to be a challenge to everybody, not only in sports as well as our a normal day-to-day routine. So it's going to be something that I don't look forward to, but we have to face it. So for the moment, it's simple as stay home, stay safe.
Russell?
Yeah, it's a hard one really when we are talking of sport and the good things about it. Most of us at this stage in a good place, but when you look around, I mean, what are we talking about? Life as such, so many people struggling. You do feel really bad for them. How are you gonna get across? And so all we can do is pray and wish everyone well, that you stay healthy, and also the repercussions, or it doesn't come back to bite you as life goes on and everyone can get back on their feet. In terms of cricket itself, cricket will make a move forward, but it will be slow. It won't be the same for a while, I feel, because things have to be slow. Getting things back in order. At the end of the day, it also comes down to how much money can be spent. So sponsors, are they still in a position to dish out as much as they were doing? So it's going to be a slow process, but we'll still get back there. As for the players, stay fit, look forward to it, come back fresh, because this is a good break. I think everyone needed it in terms of the sport itself. So just wishing everyone well and hoping for the best.
Andrew, you can finish it off with
Yeah. No, just to add, I mean, stand with everything that Russell and Farveez said. But the one cool thing about cricket is that I find there's a lot of, not just in our daily lives now, there's a little bit of negativity when you open up the news. It's a lot to take in. I think it does take, especially while everyone's at home living in this kind of parallel universe. It takes a little bit of an emotional toll, but cricket can be one of those things. You go back to past matches, you watch them, you watch highlights on YouTube, you look at old scoreboards, you read old articles. Those are the kinds of things that, at least for me, will lift me and kind of get me through the day and sort of make me feel good again. I mean, we all love cricket because it is a form of escapism. And although there's no live cricket happening now, we can still use it for that purpose. And that's definitely what I've been doing. It's still, such a big part of my life, even though there's no live cricket. So I'm very, very grateful that I have something like that, and to make me feel good, even though things aren't amazing right now around the world. We've got issues at home in Sri Lanka with wage laborers not getting a lot of work at the moment. but just to distract you and to give you that escapism. We're very lucky to have cricket in our lives.
Exactly. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining with ThePapare.com. We at ThePapare.com, we also have several things lined up for all the cricket fans, cricket fissers on ThePapare.com. We are also telecasting some of our games on 24/7 channel, which you can also go and watch all those sports action, not only cricket, rugby, football, basketball, everything on ThePapare.com, and all those highlights on our YouTube channel as well. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining with us. Stay safe, and we hope to catch up very soon. Thank you very much, and God bless you, everyone.
Russell has to say something.
Okay, Russell, you can finish
Go on,
it off.
Russell. Go on, Russell.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Good fun.
Cheers, good fun, guys. Yeah, Andrew, nice seeing you, but
See you guys. Thanks
see you
very
guys.
much.
See you later.
Cheers.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the bell icon for our latest content.